Tonight is Cherry Hill. Who is ready? I'll be right back. Very bottom. Hello. Hey, Kimmy. I hope you're feeling better. Hey, Palm. And Melanie, if you're watching, I saw, and my prayers are going out to you now. Healing, love, and light. Hey, Palm. Hey, Bonnie Lass. Hello, Sandra. Who is ready for Cherry Hill? Hello, Andrew. Been ready? Hey, Charlene. Hey, X. Hello, Mia. Welcome in. Hello, Amy. Tonight is your night, Grims. Tonight is Cherry Hill. Sub only. Superfan chat only. Let me know if y'all are the only ones that are able to chat. That is highly important to me. Hello. Hello over there on the wide channel. Hello, Rhonda. The chat disappears so quickly over there in YouTube. I don't know. Or my channel. Why do I keep forgetting that? Hello, Sally Ann. Let's start sharing the live, if you would. Hello, Tara. How are you, darling? Thank you, Amy. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Pamela. How are you, darling? Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for the presents. Thank you, thank you. Every present keeps this live alive. I am not even kidding you. Every present keeps this live alive. Let's share the live. Let's repost the live. Let's get this live out there. Tonight is going to be epic. Epic, epic, epic. Let's start tapping. Tap, tap, tap. That's how we get activated. That's how the algorithm picks up on us. Thank you, Mia. I have to say, oh, thank you so much, Amy. Thank you for that beautiful present. Hello, Rose. Thank you for sharing the live. Hello, Al. Hello, Amber Robinson. How are you, darling? Hey, Kelly. Tonight is your night. Hey, Tracy. Tonight is your night, Grims. Tonight is Cherry Hill. And the only ones that can comment are you. Thank you for the repost. Cherry Hill, where are we going to go tonight? Very, very dark. Don't forget to send your daily heart me's and your Go Populars. It helps you out too. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Diana. Hello, Lydia. Thank you for the follow. You are most welcome here. I thought that would get a laugh out of you, Shirley. I did. I thought that would probably get a laugh. Believe it or not, I actually have a very good sense of humor. It's getting closer. 3 minutes. Oh my goodness, this story. Wow, this story. Is it weird that it's giving the writer cold chills? Did everyone see the crazy meme that I put in the D channel today? It was me on the computer going stark raving mad. Every time I hear this music, I want to go to Scotland. One minute. Hello, Kimberly. Hello over there in the white channel. How is everyone doing this evening? I can't get to the chat. Oh, there we go. Let's see if a few more come in quickly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do I look evil tonight? I feel like I look evil. Thank you, Amber. I think I'm definitely giving off Night Queen vibes tonight. Thank you. This song gets me in the story. I am feeling quite why, thank you, Ian. Before I continue tonight, I'm going to say something that's long overdue. And trust me, those who it's meant for will feel like a blade. There is someone slithering around my life, hoping that I didn't notice, hoping that I would stay quiet. Yes, you know who you are. Hoping that she will get away with it. Let me educate you, and I hope you're listening clearly. The only thing that you spew is lies. And I mean the only thing. Is lies, deceit, poison. You open your mouth, and all that comes out is the verbal equivalent of rot. What you've been doing, it's not just petty. It's not just pathetic. It borders on criminal. I'm not sure if you know this, but slander is a serious offense. Did you know that? Perhaps not. Defamation of character is a serious offense. And stalking? Sweetheart, Maybe you genuinely don't understand just how serious that is. But I do. And I am fully aware that you are the one doing it. You think you're clever. You think you're hidden. You think you're pulling strings behind the curtain, don't you? But the truth is, you're not the puppet master. You're just a desperate little shadow begging for attention. And let's clear up one more thing, because I know that you're listening closely. I can feel it. If you were so easily able to pull people from my life, then hear me clearly. I didn't need them. I don't need them now. I don't lose sleep over losing the weak. And frankly, if they listen to you, then I have serious doubts about them. What you don't understand, honey, is that I was here from the beginning. I built this life. I started this life. This is my life. I can outlast you, and I will. Because people who can be swayed by lies were never meant to stand beside me in the first place. You know what else is hilarious? You actually think that you're damaging me. But every move you make exposes you only more. You're not revealing my flaws. You're revealing your obsession. And let me say this loudly enough so you don't mistake my calm for arrant ignorance. I see you. I know you. And I am not confused. I am not blind. And furthermore, we know who you are. I call my night watchers the watchers for a reason. They're watching you. You are not in the dark. You are lit up with a flashlight. I see everything that you do. And don't you dare think otherwise. The difference between you and me is simple. I don't hide in the dark and tear people down. I stand right here in the light with the truth and a spine that you could only dream of having. And since you love drama so much, let me give you a word to obsess over. Are you ready? Karma is patient. Karma is precise. Karma does not miss. And the beautiful thing about karma is you don't have to chase it. You just sit back and let it visit the people who have earned it. And you, most certainly, my dear, have. So, keep stalking. Keep slandering. Keep projecting the emptiness of your own life onto mine. And let me make something else very clear with you. I'm not done addressing this. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Not any night until your little performance finally burns itself out. Because the truth has a way of peeling back every mask, every lie, every little show you put on. And I am very, very much looking forward to the moment that everything you have done in the darkness, everything that you've been hiding, comes to light. So let me repeat again. I know who you are. I know what you're doing. And now, do yourself a favor. Go ahead and slither out of my life. We don't allow snakes in here. Now, let's move on, because unlike you, you miserable excuse for a human being, I have real stories to tell. Welcome to Twisted Tales Live. I am your host, Bryn Morgan. I am a horror author. I am also a teller of scary stories. And tonight is Cherry Hill. Let me see in the comments. Are you ready? Prepare yourself. Tonight is going to be wild. Hello, Lord Vader. We have a way of how we enter into story time here, don't we? And we do it here on Twisted Tales Live. Lower your lights. Lock your doors. Light a candle for ambiance, or to chase those shadows away. Pull your curtains nice and tight. Wrap yourself in your warmest blanket to avoid the chills that are about to crawl up your spine. And let's begin. The letters lay in a neat, trembling stack on Maggie's lap, each one more fragile than the last, each one carrying the ghost of a man she had never known, and a truth she had never been prepared to face. His handwriting grew darker, more frantic with each page. His devotion to Aileen deepened into obsession. His desperation bled through the paper like old wounds. And the final letter, the sixth letter, the one begging Aileen to flee the Black Pass and return with him to Scotland, left Maggie hollow. There were no more letters after that. No closure. No explanation. Hello, Leslie Marie, you beautiful grandmother. Just silence. When she finally rose from the parlor, her knees were weak. Inez touched her arm gently, but Maggie just shook her head, unable to speak. Please, I just need some time. She walked the dim hallway alone, climbed the staircase like a woman climbing toward a precipice, and entered her bedroom. She lay down, fully clothed, the storm hammering against Cherry Hill House, lightning splintering across the windows like cracks in the world. And somewhere between one heartbeat and the next, the nightmare swallowed her whole. In the dream, Maggie was not Maggie Drake. She was Kenna McLeod, cloaked in black, the long tattered gown clinging to her like smoke. A hood shadowed her red hair. The wind tasted of ash and old magic. Her bare feet touched cold stone slick with moss and rain. Around her rose jagged mountains, taller, darker, more ancient than the Black Pass she knew in waking life. This was the pass unmasked. The pass in its true form. The pass before time swallowed its name. Chanting echoed, low, rhythmic, primeval. Women's voices, dozens of them, lifting and falling in a hymn that felt older than the sky. Then came screaming. A child's scream. Maggie turned sharply, her heart kicking against her ribs. Ahead of her, she saw a bonfire rage, massive, towering, a pillar of flame clawing into the night. Sparks lifted like souls fleeing into the dark, and circling the fire were witches, black-robed, hooded, their faces unseen, their voices rising in that terrible chant. Nofrit Chelcher, Nofrit Chelcher. The name rolled like thunder. The name rattled in Maggie's bones. Two witches stepped forward, holding a child between them, small, terrified, and writhing. Maggie's breath broke. Mason. His face was streaked with tears, mud, fear, his sobs lost under the roars of the flame. No, no, please, please, he cried, his voice cracking. But then, from the shadows behind the fire, something stepped out. Tall, monstrous, cloaked completely in black. A shape more shadow than flesh. A presence so cold and ancient that the air seemed to recoil around it. The witches dropped to their knees at once, bowing low. The child froze. The figure leaned forward, and with one long finger, unnaturally still, unnaturally graceful, he touched the boy's chin, tilting it upward. Silence fell. Even the fire seemed to hold its breath. A whisper spilled from beneath the cloaked hood, low, male, calm, too calm. And Mason's trembling stopped. His sobbing ceased. His chest rose and fell slowly like he had been drugged by the sound of whatever was beneath the cloak. The bonfire roared higher, swelling as if fed by something unseen. Maggie stumbled backward, her lungs seized, her throat closed, the wind shifted. The chanting grew frenzied. The witches began to sway back and forth. Nol frit chul chair, nol frit chul chair. And then Maggie saw it. Behind the bonfire stood a stone altar, long, black, slick as obsidian, stained, ancient, and waiting. Mason was being led toward it. The witch's tread grew feverish now. No frit, chul chair! No frit, chul chair! The flames exploded upward, white hot and blinding, and Maggie felt it. A pulse, a beat, a rhythm like a heartbeat made of thunder. The figure raised his hand. The witches screamed his name into the sky. No frit, chul chair! No frit, chul chair! The sacrifice had begun. The figure raised his hand again, and Maggie knew with every beat of her soul, that this boy, this 7-year-old boy, was about to die. She tried to run. She tried to scream. She tried to move. But the black-cloaked figure turned his head slowly toward her, holding out his hand and whispered her name. Kenna. The fire swallowed the night. The storm pushed deeper into the valley as midnight bled into the edges of Cherry Hill. Rain hammered the old farmhouse in fierce, relentless bursts, rattling the panes, shuddering the roof, and rolling thunder so close it felt like something clawing at the sky. Upstairs, Maggie lay tangled in her sheets, breathing hard, brow damp with sweat, already deep inside the nightmare before Inez even realized something was wrong. At first, it just sounded like the house was settling, the storm groaning, the wind crying down the chimney. But then Inez heard it, a scream. Maggie! Maggie! She paused at the foot of the stairs, her heart stuttering, and then she heard it again, a sound that didn't belong to the living. They're being sacrificed! The words tore through her house, raw, ripped from the throat of someone drowning in terror. Inez didn't hesitate. She took the steps 3 at a time. Her socks slid on the hard wood as she bolted to the second floor. She fell and hit her head on the banister. She picked it up, hands gripping the railing. Stormlight flashing through the windows in blinding white burst. Maggie! She reached the bedroom door and shoved it open and froze. Maggie was upright in the bed, but not awake. Her back arched violently, at an odd angle, fingers clawing at her own chest, breath coming in broken gasps that tore her voice raw. Her medallion glowed white hot against her skin, illuminating the room in an eerie, pulsing light. Thunder cracked outside. Dune hissed from the dresser, fur spiked, tail lashing in terror. Maggie! Inez gasped, rushing to her side. Honey, wake up! Wake up! It's just a dream! But Maggie didn't hear her. Her eyes were wide open, glassy and green, dilated, staring at something behind reality. Her lips trembled then. They're being sacrificed! She sobbed, voice breaking. They're being sacrificed! The children are being sacrificed! The air in the room seemed to thicken, growing colder, pressing against Inez's skin like icy fingers. Maggie's breath fogged in the air, the lights flickered, the storm roared as if answering her screams. Maggie! Mags! Wake up! Inez grabbed her shoulders, shaking her. Wake up, girl! But Maggie only screamed louder. They're being sacrificed! Oh, God! The boy! They're sacrificing them! Stop them! Stop them, please! Her voice deepened and twisted like something else was pulling the words from her throat. Maggie! Inez cried, panic flooding her voice. Maggie, you're dreaming! You've got to come back! Wake up! But Maggie thrashed harder, nearly throwing Inez off the bed. Her head went back, her fingernails carved desperate marks into the sheets. And then she became quiet. Olivia. Mason. Valerie. All of them. They're being sacrificed. They're being sacrificed. They are being sacrificed. Lightning flared through the window, illuminating her face, a face contorted in sheer, unfiltered horror. Maggie, please wake up, please. But there was no response. The chanting in the dream world spilled through Maggie's mouth in broken pieces, her voice shuddering as she repeated a name over and over. A name no one had spoken in this house. A name that no one had spoken in centuries. Inez's blood ran cold. Nafrid Cholche. Nafrid Cholche. Nafrid Cholche. Maggie, stop! And at that moment, Inez slapped her hard across the face. The sound cracked through the room like another bolt of thunder. Maggie jerked. Her breath caught mid-scream. Her body went rigid. Then she collapsed forward, gasping, shaking violently, grabbing onto Inez as though drowning. Inez wrapped both arms around her, pulling her close. Oh my God, Mags, it's okay. You're awake now. But Maggie wasn't okay. Her teeth chattered uncontrollably. Her chest heaved. Her eyes were wide and unfocused, staring at something that only she had seen. And then in a voice no louder than a broken whisper, she looked at her with the most pitiful expression. They're being sacrificed, Inez. Another clap of thunder shook the house. Cold chills ran down Inez's spine. And downstairs, unseen in the darkened hallway, a shadow drifted across the floorboards. Slow, deliberate, like something had been listening. The nightmare came back like a flood as she sat on the bed beside her best friend. She was drowning in it, pulled under by something ancient and hungry, something that knew her name before she was born. How did she know it? She just knew. She couldn't breathe, couldn't scream, could only watch. She couldn't get the image out of her mind. The circle of hooded black figures stood around the massive bonfire, the flames rising toward the sky, right on top of the Black Pass. Their black robes so dark they seemed to absorb the light. The flames climbed higher than the trees, hungry and crackling, casting dancing shadows that moved wrong, jerking and twisting like living things. And the children, God, the children. It wasn't just Mason that she had seen. 7 of them, small, terrified, huddled together in a cage woven from blackthorn branches, their faces streaked with tears and dirt. They clutched each other, sobbing, calling for their mothers. 3 of them, Maggie knew, because she had seen them in their dreams. But not the others, not the other 4. Perhaps that was the ones that had went missing on the trail. But Mason Stafford was among them. His brown eyes were wide with terror, and he was the first one that they pulled forward. She couldn't get the chant out of her voice, out of her mind. Nafrit Chulche. Their voices rose and fell in a language that predated words that crawled across Maggie's skin like insects. The sound of it was wrong, unnatural. It made her teeth ache and her bones vibrate. In her dream, the fire had roared higher, and then she began to shake. Mags, tell me what you saw. Tell me what you saw, hon. Tell me what you saw. You gotta talk it out. It was like the circle. Like your circle, Chloe. But dark. Very dark. Black witches. But there was someone else there. One of the robed figures stepped forward, and it was a man. Mason was terrified. Absolutely terrified. And then the figure raised its arm, and the chanting grew louder, and it was frenzied, and it was desperate. And they just kept speaking this name over and over again. What was it? What was it? Nofrit Chulche. Nofrit Chulche. What happened next? The ground beneath the circle began to crack. Black smoke just pouring from these fissures that were beneath the mountain. I could smell rot and burning hair, and it coiled around the cage with those kids in there, wrapping the children in these tendrils of darkness, and they were screaming. They were screaming! Maggie remembered back to the tall figure reaching for the cage door. Maggie, give me your phone. Maggie looked on her bedside table and grabbed her cell phone. Unlock it for me. I want to look up something. being sacrificed. I know, baby, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure this out. Oh God, they're being sacrificed. Her whole body shook. Sweat soaked through her tank top, plastering it to her skin. Her hands clawed at the sheets, trying to find something real, something solid. Listen to me. Tell me that name again. Inez was very worried because Maggie's eyes were wrong. They were glassy, unseeing, like she was staring through Inez, through the walls, through reality itself, into something that shouldn't exist. Her lips moved, a whisper barely audible. No freach chilche. No freach chilche. Inez went completely still. The temperature in the room dropped. She could see her breath. Unlock your phone! Maggie's tears caught the moonlight as they streamed down her face. Her lips trembled, forming the words again. No free chair. The name hung in the air between them like smoke, like poison, and the moment it left Maggie's lips, something changed. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to deepen, to pulse. The constant thunder from the Black Pass grew louder, closer, like the mountain itself was listening. Dune, who had been curled at the foot of the bed, suddenly hissed, a sound that Inez had never heard from him. His orange eyes were huge, reflecting something in the darkness that Inez couldn't see. His fur stood on end, making him look twice his size. Then he bolted from the room. Maggie, look at me. I need you to unlock your phone. Maggie blinked, and suddenly she was back, present, seeing Inez for the first time, but the terror in her eyes hadn't faded. It's the name, she whispered, her voice hoarse and broken. The witches were chanting it in the black robes around the fire when they brought the children to him. Her breath hitched. The children aren't lost, Inez. They're being sacrificed. They were sacrificing them to him. To who, Maggie? To who? This Nefritchel chair? Who? Inez grabbed the phone and forced it into Maggie's hands. I said unlock it! And Maggie did. I need you to spell it for me, she said urgently. Maggie, spell it for me right now. Maggie swallowed hard. Her voice cracked as she spoke each letter slowly, deliberately, like the name itself was fighting against being written down. Spell it! N A F R I T C H I L L. She paused, drawing a shaking breath. S H U R E. Inez's fingers flew across the screen, typing exactly what Maggie had spelled. The moment she had searched, the screen flickered. Once, twice. For a second, Inez thought her phone had died, and then the results populated, and her blood turned to ice. Nofret Chilcher, the Shadow Lord, devourer of the innocent, exiled Scottish entity of the Dark Vale. She began to read. Oh my God. Ancient legend tells of Nofret Chilcher, a dark laird who was cast out of the Scottish Highlands in the 14th century for practicing blood magic and child sacrifice. According to folklore, he made a pact with something older than the Christian God, something that existed in the space between worlds. In exchange for immortality and power, he would feed it the souls of innocent children. When the clans finally rose against him, they could not kill him. So they bound him with iron and salt in ancient words, and they sent him into a high mountain to be forgotten. But he wasn't forgotten. He found a new home, a new hunting ground, and the mountains remembered. Inez's hands were shaking so badly, she nearly dropped the phone. Maggie. But Maggie wasn't looking at her. She was staring at the window, at the darkness beyond, at the black pass looming in the distance. They were being sacrificed to him, Inez, she whispered. To Nofret Chilcher, the Shadow Lord. Her voice dropped even lower. He's in the Black Pass, still feeding, still taking them. Outside, lightning split the sky. Thunder cracked so loud the windows rattled. And in that moment of brilliant white light, Inez saw something that made her heart stop. A figure. Standing at the edge of the woods beyond the house. Tall. Impossibly tall. Wearing something that moved like liquid shadow. Watching the house. Watching them. Then the darkness returned and it was gone. But Inez knew that it had been there. Oh, Maggie, she breathed, unable to look away from the window. What have you gotten yourself into? Maggie's hand reached out and found hers in the dark. Her pain was ice cold. I don't know, she whispered. But I think it's gotten into me too. The medallion around her neck began to burn. Not warm, not hot, burning. So hot that it cleaved to the skin of her chest. Maggie gasped and grabbed at it, pulling away the skin, but she couldn't take it off. It seared to her skin again, glowing faintly with a sickly green light. And from somewhere deep in the Black Pass, from somewhere that shouldn't exist in this world, came a sound. Low, resonant, ancient. A laugh. Inez pulled Maggie close, both of them shaking, both of them staring at the window as the shadows moved and writhed beyond the glass. The name had been spoken, and something had heard it. Something that had been waiting a very long time. Nofret Chilcher, the Shadow Laird, the devourer of the innocent. And he knew that Maggie Drake, that Kenna, had saw everything. They didn't sleep the rest of the night. They couldn't. Every shadow seemed to hide something that was watching. Every creak of the old house sounded like footsteps. Every gust of wind carried whispers in a language neither of them understood, but both of them felt it in their bones. Dune never came back to the bedroom. And when dawn finally broke over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of blood and fire, Maggie knew with absolute certainty her training with Billy Grey Eagle couldn't come soon enough. Because Nabrat Chilcher was awake, and he was hungry. Earlier that morning, Inez insisted that Maggie lay down, and the pain woke her. Not the sharp, immediate kind that makes you scream. This was deeper, slower, a burning ache that started at her chest and radiated outward like poison spreading through her veins. Maggie's eyes opened slowly, her vision blurry with exhaustion. The bedroom was bathed in pale gray light. Inez had closed the curtains. Dawn, maybe, or close to it. The constant rumble of thunder from the black pass vibrated through the walls like a heartbeat. She tried to sit up, and the pain flared white hot. She gasped, her hand flying to her chest, pressing against the fabric of her tank top. The material felt wrong against her skin, rough, abrasive, like sandpaper scraping across an open wound. What the hell? Slowly, carefully, Maggie pushed herself upright. Every movement sent fresh waves of agony through her chest. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, her bare feet touching the cold hardwood floor. The sensation grounded her slightly, but the pain remained constant, throbbing, wrong. And then she smelled it. Coffee. Rich, dark, strong. The scent drifted up from downstairs, cutting through the fog of pain and exhaustion. Inez was still awake, apparently, already moving, already preparing for whatever fresh horror this day would bring. Maggie stood, her legs shaky, and moved toward the bathroom. Each step sent tremors through her body, the pain in her chest pulsing in time with her heartbeat. The bathroom light was too bright. She squinted against it, her hand gripping the edge of the sink for support. The porcelain was cool and smooth under her palm, solid and real. She looked up at the mirror and froze. Burn marks all across her chest. Her face went pale, too pale. She had dark circles under her eyes that looked like bruises. Her red hair hung in tangled waves around her shoulders and knots, dull and lifeless. But it was her chest that made her breath catch. All the marks, in the shape of the medallion, burned into her skin. Dark, circular, wrong. With trembling hands, Maggie pulled the tank top over her head, wincing as the fabric dragged across her skin. She let it fall to the floor and looked down at herself. Oh, God, she whispered. The medallion had burned her 5 times. Just above her heart, perfectly circular. One, though, had burned even deeper. The skin was angry and red, blistering at the edges, the center blackened like charred meat. She could see the intricate pattern of the medallion's design burned into her flesh. The Celtic knot, the strange symbols, the seagulls, all of it seared into her as if the metal had been heated white hot and pressed into her skin like a brand. But it wasn't just the medallion. She felt the sharp pain around her neck. The chain had burned her too. Around her neck, following the exact path where the chain had rested, were thin lines of blistered, weeping skin. Red welts that wrapped around her throat like a noose, each link of the chain imprinted on her flesh. The smell hit her then, sharp, acrid, like burning hair and cooked meat. The smell of her own burned flesh. Her stomach turned. She gripped the sink harder, her knuckles white, fighting the urge to vomit. The medallion still hung around her neck. The chain, hot against the burns. It should have. Why did it do it? It felt heavy and wrong on her now. With shaking fingers, Maggie reached up and unclasped the chain, but it wouldn't come undone. She grabbed it with all of her power and ripped it away from her skin. And the moment the medallion left her skin, something changed. It was like a door slamming shut. Like a presence that had been hovering over her shoulder suddenly vanished. As if you committed the most evil act and your angel left your shoulder. The pressure she hadn't even realized was there, pressing down on her chest, filling her lungs, whispering at the edges of her mind. Just stopped. What was going on? She saw dark shadows entering her room, swirling. She felt empty, hollow, like something vital had been ripped away from her, leaving a cold, aching void where it had been. Maggie threw the medallion on the bathroom floor, her hands trembling. It sat there, lifeless. No glow, no warmth anymore. No pulse of energy, just a piece of tarnished metal on white porcelain. The chain coiled around it like a dead snake. She stared at it. She felt bereft. She wanted to cry. It had been with her since she arrived at Cherry Hill House. This thing that her mother had given her. This thing that had now burned her in her sleep. And she felt nothing from it. It was just empty. Dead. The pain was unbearable, still throbbing. She opened the medicine cabinet, her hand still shaking, and pulled out the first aid kit. Antibiotic ointment, gauze, tape, nothing that would really help with burns this severe, but at least it was something. She squeezed ointment onto her fingers. The cream was cool and thick and smelling faintly of medicine and petroleum jelly, and gently touched it to the burn on her chest, and then to the next one. The pain was immediate and excruciating. Oh! Maggie bit down on her lip hard enough to taste blood. Tears streaming down her face as she forced herself to try to keep going. She tried. She had to cover the wound, had to protect it, had to do something. The ointment went on in slow, agonizing increments. Every touch sent fire through her nerves. Every breath made her chest move, made the burns pull and stretch and scream. By the time that she finished, she was sobbing, her whole body trembling with pain and shock. She was reaching for the gauze when she heard footsteps on the stairs. "Maggie, you up?" There were footsteps. "Maggie, I made Inez's voice cut off abruptly. Maggie looked up to find her best friend standing in the bathroom doorway, a mug of coffee in each hand, her face frozen in an expression of absolute horror. "Oh my God, Maggie," Inez whispered. "Maggie, what in the..." The mugs hit the floor. Coffee splashed against the walls across the white towel, the ceramic shattering into pieces. But Inez didn't seem to notice. She was across the bathroom in 2 steps, her hands hovering over Maggie's chest, not quite touching, her eyes wide and terrified. "Maggie, what the hell happened to you?" Inez's voice was shaking. "Maggie, what the..." "The medallion," Maggie said quietly. "It burned me in my sleep. I woke up and..." Her voice broke. "It was burning me. Maggie, you're burned in 5 different places." The jelly was doing nothing to hide the angry redness of the wounds. "What is that?" Inez looked closer at the one right above her heart. "Maggie, it's engraved in your skin." Inez's hands were trembling as she gently, carefully turned Maggie to see the full extent of her burns. "Look at your neck. The circular brands on her chest, the chain marks around her neck, all of it angry and red and wrong." "Maggie, this is like a 3rd-degree burn," Inez breathed. "Maybe... Maggie, we need to get you to a hospital." "No." Maggie's voice was firm, despite the tears still streaming down her face. "No hospitals. How do I explain this? How do I tell them that my dead mother's magical medallion burned me while I was sleeping after I spoke the name of an ancient Scottish demon? I don't give a shit what you tell them." Inez's voice rose sharp with fear and anger. "They look badly infected. I won't. Please, Nez, please, just help me bandage it. Help me cover it, but I cannot go to the hospital. Not yet. Not until..." She swallowed hard. "Not until I understand what's happening to me." Inez stared at her for a long moment, conflict wearing in her expression. Then she took a shaking breath, and she hugged her. She hugged her best friend. "Don't move. This is going to hurt like hell." Inez had been right. The next 20 minutes were pure agony. Inez cleared the burns with sterile saline solution, the liquid cold and stinging against Maggie's raw flesh. She applied more antibiotic ointment, thicker this time, coating the wounds completely. The smell of it filled the bathroom, sharp and medicinal, mixing with the lingering scent of coffee and burned skin. Then came the bandaging. Inez worked with gentle efficiency, wrapping gauze around Maggie's neck, covering the chain marks with layers of soft white fabric. Then she placed a large square of gauze over the circular burns on Maggie's chest, taping it carefully in place. Inez sat back on her heels, looking up at her best friend. Her eyes were red, whether from tears or anger or both, Maggie couldn't tell. What is the next step here, Maggie? Inez's voice was quiet but intense. You know now that whatever is in those mountains is evil and sinister and is sacrificing children. It burned you. It marked you in your sleep. So what are you going to do? Maggie opened her mouth to answer, but her phone buzzed on the bathroom counter. Both women looked at it. Maggie reached over, her movement slow and painful, and picked it up. It was from Chloe. Maggie, Billy wants to meet with you immediately at my house. Can you be here within the hour? He's very disturbed. Maggie stared at the message, her heart pounding. Billy wants to meet with me, she said quietly. I guess it's time for the training to begin. Inez stood, grabbed a towel to wipe the coffee off the floor, and picked up the glass. I don't think he could have contacted you at a better time, Maggie Drake. She looked at Maggie, her expression fierce. And I'm coming with you. No. Shut up, Maggie. I'm coming with you. Thank you. You're not doing this alone. Not anymore. Inez helped Maggie to her feet. Come on. Let's get you dressed and get some coffee in you. And then we'll go see what Billy has to say about that thing burning you. She gestured to the medallion on the counter, still lying lifeless and dead. Maggie looked at it, feeling that strange emptiness where its comforting presence used to be. Do you want me to get it for you? Inez asked. You can. Maggie felt absolute detachment from the medallion. Let's take an intermission. 10 minutes. When we come back, we will continue the reading of Cherry Hill. I hope you're enjoying. It's the heater. It's really cold out here. Hello, Brittany Nicole. Has anything surprised you tonight? Hmm. Oh, okay, X. Just 1 second. All right, a new Twisted Trinket goal. So glad that you're enjoying it. Three-minute warning. Thank you, Melanie. How are you feeling, darling? Don't forget, tomorrow night is night 2 of Paranormal Files Live, case number 2, the Amityville Horror. If you haven't followed me there yet, and you love the paranormal, my mods will please post that up so that if you want to follow over there, you can, so you don't miss one night of Paranormal Files Live. Okay, Melanie, good. I'm glad that you are taking it easy. You can also join us at the Wyatt channel, where you are able to go in and see the vast library of stories posted every night. That is also free. So if you will please go over there and subscribe to the Wyatt channel, I would greatly appreciate it. We are trying to get monetized there, and we have our viewing hours wrapped up. Now we need 1,000 subscribers. So do you like the paranormal? then why don't you go over there and follow as well? And thank you. Let's continue with Cherry Hill. 30 minutes later, Maggie and Inez were in her Bronco heading down toward Chloe's house. Maggie had managed to get dressed, a loose t-shirt that didn't press too hard against her wounds, jeans and boots. Every movement still hurt, the burns pulling and throbbing with each breath, but she forced herself to push through it. She also had managed to have a cup of coffee at Inez's insistence, the bitter liquid warming her from the inside even as her chest burned from the outside. The morning was gray and overcast, as was usual in Cherry Hill. The sky was heavy with clouds that seemed to press down on the mountains. The constant thunder rumbled over the valley, louder than usual. Or maybe Maggie was just more aware of it now. She seemed more aware of everything. More aware. She listened of Inez's heartbeat. She could hear it. She could smell the rain. They drove in silence through the sleeping town of Cherry Hill. Memorial candles still flickered on the courthouse steps for Mason Stafford, and she shook her head. He's dead. He's dead. They don't know. Yellow ribbons tied to every lamppost. A banner stretched across Main Street. Someone had put up a banner that said, "Bring our children home." There was no children to bring. Cherry Hill felt different this morning, darker, like the town itself knew what was coming. Was the thunder louder? Was the lightning brighter? Maggie's phone buzzed in the cup holder. She glanced down at the screen. It was Graham. "I miss you. When can I see you? When can I come over?" Her chest tightened, and not just from the burns, from Graham. God, she missed him too. Missed his hands, his mouth, his accent, the way he made her feel. But she couldn't think about that right now. It was too much of a distraction. Couldn't focus on anything except the burns on her chest, the children being sacrificed in the mountains, and whatever Billy was going to tell her. And she knew that it was not going to be good. She didn't respond to the text. She ignored it. She would deal with Graham later, after the training, after she understood what was happening to her, after she learned how to fight whatever had marked her. Inez must have seen her looking at the phone because she reached over and squeezed Maggie's hand. "He'll understand," Inez said quietly. "If he really, truly cares for you, he'll understand. He'll be right there waiting." Maggie nodded, not trusting her voice. The GPS directed them to the outskirts of town where the houses grew farther apart and the trees pressed in closer. Chloe's place was a charming cottage cabin nestled among tall pines, smoke curling from the chimney, warm light glowing from the windows. And parked in the driveway was Billy's red pickup truck with the white stripe. Maggie pulled in beside it and killed the engine. Her hands were shaking terribly. For a moment, neither woman moved. I am with you every step of this process. You ready for this? Inez asked. Maggie looked at her friend, at the concern and fierce loyalty in her eyes, and felt a surge of gratitude so strong that it almost hurt. No, she said honestly. But I don't have a choice, do I? They climbed out of the Bronco. The morning air was cold and sharp, carrying the scent of pine and wood smoke, and something else, something darker, like earth that hadn't seen sunlight in too long. And just beyond Maggie's peripheral vision, she could see the shadows. Maggie could taste it on her tongue, the metal and the ash. The front door opened before they could even knock. Chloe stood in the doorway, her expression grave. She wore a floating dark green dress, her light golden brown hair pulled back, and her eyes, her knowing, ancient light brown eyes, went immediately to Maggie's neck where the edge of the bandages were visible above her shirt collar. Come in, Chloe said quietly. The quietest that Maggie had ever heard her. Billy's been waiting for you. They stepped inside, and the warmth of the cottage enveloped them. A fire crackled in the stone fireplace. The walls were lined with bookshelves filled with leather-bound volumes, jars of herbs, crystals that caught the light. The air smelled of sage and sweetgrass and something Maggie couldn't quite identify. Something ancient and powerful. And standing by the fireplace, staring into the flames, was Billy Greyfeather. He looked exactly as he had the night before. Tall, broad-shouldered, ancient eyes, long silver-streaked braid. But this morning there was something different about him. Something harder, more intense. His eyes locked on Maggie's, and she felt like she was seeing straight through her. Past her skin, past her bones, down to whatever the medallion had marked. Maggie Drake, he said, his voice deep and resonant. Show me. It wasn't a request. It was an order. Maggie glanced at Inez, who nodded encouragingly, and then at Chloe, who was watching Maggie with dread and fear and pity. Slowly, carefully, Maggie pulled the collar of her shirt down and peeled back the edge of the bandage on her neck. Billy's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes, recognition, confirmation. He looked closer. And then his face was resolute. Maybe even a touch of fear. He stood in front of her, his presence filling the space between them. He reached out slowly, his hand hovering over the bandages, and Maggie could feel the heat radiating from his palm, not painful but warm, like standing near a fire. The medallion burned you, Billy said quietly. It wasn't a question. Yes, Maggie whispered in my sleep. After the nightmare. Who is Nafrit Chilshur? Chloe backed away. The name hung in the air between them. Maggie nodded. Billy's hand moved from her neck to hover over her chest, over the larger burn hidden beneath the bandages above her heart. His eyes closed and his breathing deepened. Maggie could feel something, energy maybe, or power flowing from him, washing over her like a wave. And then his eyes snapped open. It's too late. Inez questioned. What's too late? Chloe gently pulled Inez back. Let him speak to her. He marked you, Billy said, and there was something like anger in his voice now. He claimed you, put his brand on you while you slept, while you were vulnerable, while you couldn't fight back. What does that mean? Inez asked again, her voice sharp with fear. Billy stepped back, his expression grave as he looked at each of them in turn. Maggie, Inez, and Chloe. It means, he said slowly, that Nafrit Chelashur knows exactly what Maggie is. I had hoped he hadn't recognized her yet. He knows she's the heir to Aileen McLeod's power. He knows she's the one the legend calls Kenna, and he's marked her as his. It's too late. He paused, and the room seemed to grow colder. What do you mean it's too late? Maggie, say something! But Maggie just looked at him and listened. The burn isn't just a wound. It's a connection. A doorway. As long as that mark remains on your skin, he can find you. He can reach you. He can whisper to you in the dark. What can I do? He wants to take you to the Black Pass. But she can be trained, right? Inez questioned. She can be trained. But if she's not careful, if she's not strong enough, Billy's eyes locked on Maggie's alone. He can and will take her. Silence filled the cabin. Even the fire seemed quiet, the flames barely flickering. Can you remove it? Maggie asked, her voice barely a whisper. Can you break the connection between him and I? Is he the one that I've been seeing outside at night? In the storm? Yes. Billy studied her for a long moment. Maggie, you are about to face the greatest battle, the greatest darkness. It's not going to be easy. It will not be pleasant. And it will require you to face the darkness that marked you. To go into the space between worlds where Nafrit Chelashur exists and sever the connection yourself. Then teach me how, Maggie said, her voice stronger now. Teach me how to break it. Teach me how to fight him. Teach me everything I know to stop him from taking more children. Billy's expression softened slightly, and something that might have been approval flickered in his ancient eyes. You know about the children? Yes, I saw it in my nightmare. Very well, he said. But first you must understand what you're fighting. You must know the truth about Nelfrit Chulchur, about the darkness in the Black Pass, about what your mother ran from, and what you must face. He gestured to the sitting area near the fire. Sit, all of you. Because this is going to involve all of you. We are going to have to band around Maggie. He began to tell them the story of the Shadow Lord. The story of how the ancient evil came to these mountains. And then he turned to Maggie, and the story of why you, Maggie Drake, are the only one who can stop him. Maggie sat, Inez beside her, Chloe in a chair nearby. The fire crackled, the sage smoke curled through the air, and Billy Greyfeather began to speak. And outside, in the gray morning light, the thunder rolled across the back pass like a warning, like a promise, like the sound of something waking up. Billy stood by the fire, the flames casting dancing shadows across his weathered face, his high cheekbones. His eyes were distant, ancient, as if he was seeing something from centuries past, something that still lived and breathed in the darkness of the Black Pass. What I'm about to tell you, he said quietly, is not legend, not folklore, not a campfire story meant to scare children into behaving. His gaze fixed on Maggie, intense and unwavering. This is truth, old truth, the kind that predates written history, that lives in the bones of the earth and the blood of certain families. He paused, and the room seemed to hold its breath. The thing that marked you, Maggie Drake, has many names. In the old tongue, the language spoken by the Scottish witches who served him, the Black Witches, he is called the Nelfrit Chulchur. The name rolled off Billy's tongue with perfect pronunciation, each syllable heavy with power and dread. Nelfrit Chulchur. Yes, that's what I heard in my nightmare. The moment he spoke it, the fire flickered. The temperature in the room dropped, and Maggie felt the burns on her chest pulse once, hot and painful. I read a little bit about it online, but silence. Inez shrank back. He's also known as the Veil Weaver, Billy said. The one who dwells beneath worlds, between worlds, the shadow that feeds on light. He turned back to the fire, staring into the flames. He's older than Scotland itself, older than the standing stones in the Cairngorms, older than any god or demon worshipped by mortal men. Chloe had gone pale, her hands gripping the arms of her chair so tightly her knuckles were white. He was born from the mountains, Billy continued, his voice taking on the cadence of a storyteller passing down an ancient and terrible fate from fog and shadow, and the hunger that lives in dark places where sunlight never reaches. The old witches, the ones who practiced before Christianity, before the clans, before written language. They believed he was the breath of the mountains themselves, the darkness giving form and purpose. Billy turned to face them again, and he was hungry. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. He demanded offerings. Always children. Always the young, the innocent, the unblemished. The old witches believed that a child's soul was the brightest flame, pure light untouched by sin or darkness. And only that bright flame could pierce the veil between worlds. Only that light could sustain him, strengthen him, bind him further to the mortal realm. Maggie felt sick. How many? Hundreds, Billy said flatly. Maybe thousands over the centuries. The Scottish witch clan served him for generations, performing the rituals, making the offerings, keeping him fed and strong. They built their power on the bones of children. They lived in the shadows of his favor. And then Chloe spoke up. Until something changed, Maggie. Billy nodded. Until the persecution came. Christianity swept through Scotland like wildfire, and the old ways, the old magic was hunted, burned, drowned. The witch clans were scattered. Many were killed. Many fled. He looked directly at Maggie. And some crossed the ocean to the New World, to America, to these mountains. Maggie's blood ran cold. And those witches that came here are Eileen's bloodline, she whispered. Yes. Billy's expression was grim. Your mother's ancestors were part of the Inner Circle, the most powerful black witches in the Navrathir service. They were his favorites, his chosen, and when they fled Scotland, when they crossed the sea to escape persecution, they brought more than just their magic with them, Maggie Drake. They brought him. Oh, God. They tried not to. A few. They tried to leave him behind. Some wanted to sever the connection, to break the pact their ancestors had made. But the Nafraith Nocher at that time was not a god or a demon. He was not bound by rules that governed such beings. He is a force, an entity that exists in the spaces between worlds, in the thin places where reality breaks down. Billy moved closer to Maggie, his ancient eyes boring into hers. He followed the bloodline that fed him. He followed your mother's ancestors across the ocean, through the veil, into these mountains. And once they established their circle here, in the Black Pass, once they began practicing the old dark magic again, he rooted himself beneath the Black Pass. New mountains, new children, new sacrifices. For how long? Inez asked, her voice shaking. Chloe spoke up. 300 years? Give or take. 300 years of children disappearing into those mountains and people just thinking that they were disappearing, but we've known. We've always known. We were the good sect that came from Scotland. We're the white light. We've been fighting 300 years of the coven performing rituals, 300 years of the circle to try to defeat them, 300 years of the Nophrithal chair growing stronger, deeper, more entrenched in this place. Maggie's hands were trembling. And you haven't been able to stop them? No one tried to fight back? Many tried, Billy said quietly. The Cherokee who lived here before the settlers came, we tried. We fought. We performed our own rituals, our own protections. But the Nophrithal chair is not of this land. He doesn't follow the rules of the spirits we know. He's something foreign, Maggie. Something ancient and wrong. And he was too strong by the time we understood what we were fighting. He paused and pain flickered across his face. My grandfathers have lost children to the Black Pass. His sister lost 5. Every Cherokee family in these mountains has lost someone to the darkness. We learned to stay away from the Black Pass during the thin times, during the autumn equinox, during Samhain, during the winter solstice. We learned to keep our children close. We learned to fear what we couldn't defeat. But Aileen, she tried to break free, right? Maggie asked. Didn't she? Billy nodded slowly. Aileen McLeod was the most powerful witch born to the bloodline in 200 years. She was meant to be the coven's high priestess, meant to lead the rituals, meant to bind the children and bring them to Nophrithal chair, to feed the Nophrithal chair. But she didn't want that life. Not after she met Marcus. Not after she had you. She didn't want that darkness. He looked at Maggie with something that might have been pity. Marcus was a white warlock. He was from our sect, the White Light, Chloe said. A very strong practitioner of white magic and light magic. Marcus, and that love, that choice of Aileen McLeod was forbidden. The pact between the coven and the Nophrithal chair was explicit. The bloodline must remain pure. Dark magic only. No delusion, no mixing of light and shadow, and it was the same for us. We did not want any darkness in our sect, in our circle. But she did it anyway, Maggie whispered. She did. She and Marcus conceived a child together. You. Beneath the black veil falls on the night when the veil between the worlds was at its thinnest. And then Nophrithal chair felt it. He felt the moment that you came into being. Felt the union of light and dark magic and the creation of something that should not exist. And it fed on it. Billy's expression darkened. He wanted to claim you then. Wanted to take Aileen and the child growing inside her and bind them both to him forever. But Marcus was powerful and he loved Aileen fiercely. Maggie, your father fought the Nophrithal chair in the space between worlds. Fought him with light magic, with protective words, with everything that he had. And he was only able to hold him back long enough for Aileen to run. He did not make it. Oh, she gave me away, Maggie said, her voice breaking. She gave me to Louise and David to protect me. She did, Billy confirmed. She hoped the distance would save you. That if you grew up far from Cherry Hill, far from the mountains, far from the Black Pass, far from the Coven and the Nefertiti's influence, you would be free. That you could live a normal life. But it didn't work. No. Billy's voice was heavy with regret. Maggie, you carry the bloodline. You carry the mark of both light and dark magic in your very cells. You are what the Nefertiti chair has been waiting for. The union of opposites. The child who was never meant to exist, and now you come home because he called you home. You've returned to Cherry Hill. You've returned to the Black Pass. You put on that medallion that belonged to your mother. And then you spoke his name. And when you did that, he claimed you. You don't have your mother's protection anymore. Billy stepped even closer, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. He has claimed you as his. Silence filled the cabin. Even the fire seemed too quiet. Now I've got to tell you something else. The burn on your chest. The big one. Maggie instinctively touched it. Billy said quietly, is not just a wound. It's a mating mark. The words hit Maggie like a physical blow. What? Her voice was sharp and disbelieving. Billy's expression was grim as he continued. The Nefertiti does not simply feed on children and disappear. He is a being who seeks to bind himself to this world, to anchor himself permanently in the physical realm. And to do that, he must mate with a vessel, a witch of the bloodline who can carry his essence, who can bear the weight of his power. No. You've already mated with him in your dreams. It will become reality if you don't fight him. Maggie felt like she was going to be sick. Every 200 years he chooses one. The strongest witch of the bloodline. The most powerful. And after the autumn sacrifice is made, after 7 children are given to him, to feed him, to strengthen him, to thin the veil enough for him to cross fully into this world, and he can appear as human, he performs the mating ritual. Oh my God, Inez whispered. This is why you have to train. The chosen witch, you, is brought to the Black Pass on Samhain, when the veil is at its thinnest. The coven performs the binding ceremony. You've already seen the ceremony. The bonfire, the witches, the chanting. And then a Nefertiti takes you, will take you into the space between worlds, into the darkness where he dwells, and he will claim you. Billy's eyes locked on Maggie's. The ritual is not gentle. It is not a union of equals. The nuptial tears a hunger and a shadow and an ancient power, and when he mates with a witch, he consumes her. Not all at once. That would defeat the purpose, but slowly. Over the years, he feeds on her soul light, on her power, on her very essence, until there's nothing left but a hollow shell bound to his will. Maggie's hand went to her chest, to the burn beneath the bandages that was now pounding. Aileen was meant to be his mate, Billy said quietly. She was the chosen one. The coven had already performed the marking ceremony when she was 17, branding her with his symbol. But she ran. She chose Marcus instead. She chose light over darkness, and the nuptial tear has been waiting ever since for what was stolen from him. How old was my mother? Centuries old. He wants me, Maggie whispered, horror dawning in her eyes. He wants me to take her place. More than that, Billy said, his voice heavy with dread. You were what he has always wanted. You were both light and dark. You are the child of the forbidden union. Your soul light burns brighter than any witch born to the bloodline in centuries. Bright enough to sustain him for generations. Bright enough to anchor him permanently to this world. And that is what he wants. He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was barely audible. Maggie, I fear he's already appeared to you. Not just in your dreams. If he claims you, Maggie, if he completes the mating ritual, he will never leave these mountains. He will be bound here forever, feeding on the children of these mountains for eternity. And you will be his consort, his vessel, his anchor, alive but not living, present but hollow, a shadow of who you once were. You will be darkness. The room spun. Maggie gripped the arms of her chair, fighting the urge to vomit. I don't know what to do. 7 children, she breathed. He needs 7 children for the sacrifice, and he has them already from what I saw in the nightmare. This is happening soon. Mason Stafford was his 7th. The autumn equinox has passed, Billy said. The veil is thinning. Samhain is in 2 weeks, and the coven is already preparing for you. Preparing for me, Inez demanded. Preparing for what? Billy's expression was grave. For the binding ceremony. for the mating ritual. The witches who served Nofretchel chair. They know that Maggie is here. They've already met her. The witches. Chloe nodded her head. Yes. That's his witches. They know that you carry the bloodline. They know that you've been marked now. And they will come on Samhain to deliver you to him. And Maggie, it won't be a normal invitation. That's why we have to train. How will they come? In the clouds, in the thunder, in the rain. Then we stop them, Maggie said, her voice shaking but determined. You and Chloe and Inez, she has power. We can fight them. You cannot fight an entire coven. Billy interrupted. Not yet. Not untrained. Right now you are vulnerable. You will not see them when they come in the rain. You will not hear them over the thunder. Right now, you are extremely vulnerable. They would tear you apart. He can whisper to you. Be very guarded. Show you things. Pull you into the space between worlds while you sleep. Make you feel at peace. The nightmares. They're not nightmares, Billy said flatly. They never have been. They are visions. They are invitations. The Nofretchel Terror is calling to you, showing you what he is, what he wants, what he will do to you if you come to him willingly. Maggie thought of her dreams, the shadows wrapping around her body, the pleasure mixed with terror, the voice calling her name. Kenna. And then she heard his voice in her mind. Come to me, Kenna. You were always meant to be mine. He's in my head, she said, her voice breaking. He's been in my head this whole time. Yes, Billy said gently, and he will continue to be in it until we sever the connection, until we break the mark, until we train you to shield your mind and walk between worlds without being claimed. He knelt in front of her, his weathered hands resting on his knees. That is why I came to you, Maggie Drake. That is why I've been watching and waiting and preparing. Your mother did the right thing. The Nofretchel chair is stronger, and he's growing stronger daily. His ancient eyes held her. But you are not your mother. You are the union of light and dark. You carry power that she never had. Power from both sides, woven together in ways that should not be possible. And if I can teach you to control it, to wield it, to stand against the darkness without being consumed by it. He paused. You can kill him. The words hung in the air like a promise, like a death sentence. The Nefertiti is not immortal, Billy said quietly. He is powerful, he's ancient, he's nearly unstoppable, but he is not unkillable. There was a way to sever him from this world, to close the doorways that he's opened, to send him back into the void between worlds where he cannot reach the children anymore. Now I must give you a warning. Another one? He knows you. He knows your thoughts. He knows your concerns. He knows your weakness. Be careful. Be careful of what? He will use your powerful weapon against you. He will appear as light, but he's full of darkness. You said that he could take human form. Yes. All right. 2 weeks till Samhain. Yes. I will listen to you and all that you say. Good. Good. Now, you have to go and get your daughter, right? Yes. She's coming back with me for the weekend. All right. Well, we will, we'll start your training when you get back. Will that be enough time? It will have to be. And Inez. Yes. I feel like you should be here with Maggie. I can make it happen. I can definitely make it happen. All right. Maggie Drake, you will have me, Chloe, Inez, yourself. Are you ready? I think so. Then we'll begin. About that time, another text came through from Graham. Maggie, where in the hell are you? I need to see you now. Call me back. Maggie looked down. And turned off her phone. And that is the end of tonight's reading of Cherry Hill. I hope that you enjoyed it. So, what do you think now? Hello, Amabama. Well, I will let you keep on your thinking caps, wondering what's coming next week. You are most welcome. Oh, I know. We don't want to bring Curly to Cherry Hill, do we? But Maggie's got visitation. You're welcome, Sandy's mama. Don't forget, tomorrow night is Paranormal Files Live. We're going to go deeper. Night 2 into the Amityville haunting. I love you all. Thank you so much for everyone being here. And I will see you tomorrow night on Paranormal Files Live. Take care. Good night.